You didn't wake up from the storm, didn't you?
Of course. I didn't even wake up in the middle of the night.
Jesus. I woke up. I had to put on earplugs even to get back to sleep. The storm didn't bother you, did it? Levi? What did you think of the storm, Nina? How are you doing now, Martin from Gardens for Life? So last week we had a fairly major storm, even though it was very brief. It was actually at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, it was a fairly severe storm. Luckily we didn't suffer any kind of major damage, like our greenhouses are still here and the roof is still on our house. But some of our willow trees did come down. Not very many of them, only about 5 or 6 of them. Still though, small bit of a loss compared to the rest of the garden did fine. Although some of our Yakons that I'll show you now in this video have actually basically dropped and have been torn up out of the ground a little bit. But it was almost harvest time anyway, so not to worry. This is our shelter belt here. And you can see the only green that's left is at the very top. And these mashuas that are climbing up. So that's okay. Well, you know, we lost this tree here, unfortunately. Of course, that's all going to be good cuttings, so we can multiply the tree from here by just cutting up the tree and taking them into the ground again. But also you can see here, it might be worth actually salvaging the root even. What we'll do is we'll cut it off here with a saw and we'll just kind of put some soil on top, and that way it'll actually kind of effectively coppice it and it'll grow again from the ground. So there's not really any loss, it's just that we have to harvest the entire tree this time. Jesus, look at that. Everybody's here now. I'm getting a visit. How are you doing? Did the storm bother you? No, the storm didn't bother the dogs too much at all. Very brave dogs, aren't they? They love the shelter belt too. They like going around. It's like a little labyrinth for them. And for you? You like the shelter belt?
Yeah, even if it's not so open, it's the best for me too.
It's very mysterious for children, is it?
Yeah. I bet for dogs more mysterious.
Very good. There's one more tree. Before I'll show you the willow arches at our other garden, I'm just going to show you our Yacons here and how they've all fallen with the wind. You can see here the rest of the garden is doing fine, no bother at all. And our little forest garden in the middle here is also doing fine too. We didn't lose any other trees. You can see how mucky the ground is here. It's just been incredibly wet this year. I couldn't even get any compost delivered by truck, even in the middle of summer. You can see here how the Yakon plants have been blown over. This was actually a little bit of a forest of Yakon. You couldn't even see through it. It's like a jungle, it was. Now most of the leaves have receded. And you can see here a lot of the tuber stools have actually been pulled up, as you can see here. Which is a little bit of a shame, leaving them exposed, but I'm going to just pick them all up. I'm going to harvest them all. But you can see here, they're relatively easy to pull up anyway. It's just that some of the edible parts of the big tubers have actually been separated from the crown. That's okay, we're going to do that anyway. There's still a lot of plant matter here that could produce some more tubers here underground and some more growing tips. You can see them here. Yeah, so these are the Yakons. Really happy to have all these Yakons grown, because last year we almost lost our Yakons. So let me just bring you over here too. The Jerusalem artichokes weren't bothered too much. They've actually completely dried up at this stage. Take a look. Almost completely dry. And they didn't really take any damage from the wind. Of course, I was going to make this video last week, but I just didn't get a chance at all. I've been very busy packing orders and flat out, absolutely flat out in my job too. Just fixing storm damage left, right and centre. Luckily not in our own garden. So we'll show you this garden here too. This is the sun garden. We still have yet to put out all this wood chip in among all of these perennial plants, and we're going to have a lovely extension onto the wood chip island here next year. So we're going to have lots of perennial plants growing here and a few annual plants too. You can see the Paulonia tree here. It's doing quite well. And of course a lot of the plastic has been blown away by the wind. Unfortunately you can never put enough rocks on there, or you can never put too many rocks on. But you can see how the grass has really been smothered by the plastic. That's been on here for a few months now, maybe about 4 or 5 months. And we're going to leave it on until we actually use this ground and we have compost ready to go to put on top. And you can see here, this is the first time I'm seeing this now. Look at that. That's a shame, isn't it, that they've been pulled up? But it's okay, because they were almost done anyway. That's a big Yakon, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're going to eat that?
At home, yes.
I know you like eating them, but just make sure you pick smaller ones, because you know you can't eat the whole thing if it's too big. Well, this was just a temporary garden bed, basically a no-dig bed. And you can see that's how it kind of disconnects from the crown. So the crown is where the growing tips are. But you know, we could harvest most of these anyway now, because we probably have a harsh enough frost coming in the next probably 2 weeks from now in December. Hopefully not yet, and hopefully certainly not anything like last December, because last December it went down to -8 degrees Celsius here in the Midlands of Ireland for about a week, and the whole ground was frozen, like maybe half a foot down, completely frozen solid, and it wasn't very nice to work out here in that kind of conditions. But of course also we lost a lot of tubers like the Yacon and the ochas as well. The mashua, interestingly enough, were fine. What's that?
Oh, I don't.
It's some mysterious animal.
It's nearly the size of my hand.
A wolf, is it?
Oh, it's a poor for sure.
Where are they?
Come back.
Come here. Come here.
Do this way.
Good. Now, let's just head on over to our other garden at the back of our house, and we'll just take a look at the willow arches. Unfortunately, we did suffer some losses there too, but only minimally, so I'm not complaining. It's actually not too bad, considering it was a very strong storm. It only lasted for an hour, but it went up to, I think, 140 or 50 kilometers an hour by the sounds of it anyway. And I did hear of other people in County Galway losing part of their roofs even. And even ancient or old castle walls have even collapsed onto roads, apparently, along the coastline. Anyway, let's head on over. Well, luckily, most of our willow arches are still here. However, unfortunately, one of them has collapsed. So there are... some of those trees are still salvageable. I'm going to cut those back and then keep a couple of the two of the main leaders on top, and then I'm going to try and weave them back into the original willow arch. But this tree here is irretrievable, which is a real shame. Look at the size of it. It was some storm, I tell you one thing now. We're lucky the greenhouses are still here. Then again, they're sort of stormproof by design anyway. They're kept low and sheltered. But you can see even the garden here didn't take any storm damage at all. All looking good here. Even the kale and everything else is actually fine. But that willow arch, that is an awful shame. Even though it's fairly sheltered as well. The wind actually came from that direction on the top. Even though there are other hedging plants behind it, it still ended up being a little bit too much pressure for it. I assume this one here must have been saved by the barn here. Well, in our front garden Surprisingly enough, our hedge is fine here and our fruit trees after that storm. But take a look at this. There is one tree down, all right. All these trees here are fine. Even our willows here and the other buddleias and hazels, crab apples, and thankfully our 70-year-old monkey puzzle trees are okay too. But look what happened here. Oh Jesus. Our lovely buddleia has dropped. Look at that. Well, luckily the postman is not coming in this way anyway. He's coming in the driveway. But you can see here that, I don't know if I wonder, could I push that back up? Maybe we might cut it back and hopefully it'll actually regrow. Yeah, that's about the only storm damage here in our front garden. Well, if you're still watching now, thank you very much, and we will see you at the next one. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, and let us know if you have any particular interest in the garden that you'd like us to make a video about. We'd highly appreciate your feedback. Thanks, bye bye, see you the next time.